The Elkhart Historic and Cultural Preservation Commission meeting of February 27th to order at 7 p.m. I'm going to begin with a roll call, beginning at my right.
Jay Whitmer.
Ann Lindley.
Bill Zimmerman.
Carrie Brunson.
Eric Trotter and Kyle Anthony Petter with the City of Elkhart, and Deb Parcell, Indiana Landmarks.
Thank you. In front of us this evening, we have an agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda as provided.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. All right, before you are the minutes from our December 30th, 2024 meeting. I'll give everyone a couple of moments to go through that, please. If you have any corrections, addendums, deletions that you would like made, please let me know.
I note that on page 6 of the minutes, there is a typo. It talks about Enfield. That should be infill. I think it was a misunderstanding of what.
Okay, got it.
And there's three places that it talks about Enfield, and it's infill.
Yeah, so it'd be lines 6 and 7 on the top of page 6.
And then down.
Oh, yep. And then 7 up from the bottom of the first paragraph.
And also on page 1, there's a typo. They misspelled Doug Mulvaney's first name.
I saw that too. I forgot.
Yeah, okay. Covered you.
Doug is no H. Okay, so at that point, we have to send the minutes back, or can we approve with potential to amend? Okay, I'm getting the signal that we can approve with cited request to amend. And then I'll sign them at our next meeting. Okay. May I have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. My copy over to the side so as not to. All right. Do we have any visitors with us this evening who are not speaking to a C of A? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. All right. Deb, do we have any old business, neighborhood updates, progress on anything? Nothing? Okay. All right. So that brings us to item 7 on the agenda. We have before us 25 C of A 01 for 142 State Street, specifically calling out windows. Deb, if you'd like to give us your report, please.
Yes, we have reviewed this some in the past, so this is some repetition, but I'll read it here for you. This is 142 State Street. It's a contributing rated building, a gable front built around 1880. So this project is the windows. They're asking to remove the existing 2/2 wood windows and replace them with 3/1 Hawthorne vinyl windows with a black exterior. These windows were purchased in September. So the finding in fact, 1, the windows were purchased in September of 2024. As part of COA 24 COA 07, the request to replace existing windows with vinyl windows was denied by the HPC at the December 29th, 2024 meeting, as stated in the decision letter. Windows, denial of the request for replacement with vinyl windows. The existing windows should be repaired and retained where possible. The lead paint will be encapsulated or removed at a minimum for the street-facing windows. The west facade windows should be retained. The windows not public facing, so the east and north, can be replaced with other material as needed. A storm window to be used to retain the multi-pane look, also for the transom window above the door. The new windows not to be vinyl, rather a fiberglass or aluminum clad, maintaining the original proportions 2/2. New windows shall have applied grid spacers to the glass, not between the glass. The curved detail over the window shall also be retained. And that motion was approved 5-0. Further, the encapsulation and/or removal of lead paint in the preferred approach over wholesale is the preferred approach over wholesale replacement of windows. Vinyl windows are generally not approved in the historic district, particularly on street-facing sides. If windows must be replaced, fiberglass or aluminum or fiberglass-clad wood windows are recommended. Windows should be the same light division as the original, mostly 2/2. Front porch window is 35/1, and should be simulated divided light, applied grid with spacers in the glass, not grids between the glass. Original wood window trim should be retained if possible or replaced to match the original in size and shape. Recommended motions: the owner did not disclose windows had already been purchased on 24 COA 07 application. That does not materially change the recommendation for denial, as the purchased windows do not meet the guidelines in material or design.
Thank you, Deb. Would you like to come to speak to the new C of A, please? Go ahead and state your name for the record.
Yeah, good evening. Bruce Jones, owner of JI Contracting, which is the owner of the purchasing owner of the 142 State Street. I did not disclose that because I had hoped that I could return the windows after the meeting. I immediately reached out to the supplier and was told that they could not return those windows. Now, windows are certain sizes. I can't fit them anywhere else but that house. I mean, I order windows all the time for my projects. So I'm hoping to just install those windows. There are high-quality windows. I could bring in a sample of those windows. But the price that I paid for those windows, I'm not willing to sacrifice the loss. I've already got probably $70,000 invested in this property. And so I can't continue down this road. I've been stagnated long enough. I'd like to continue to move forward and get this house completed. They only give me so much time to get it completed. Otherwise, I'm in forfeiture. So I'd like to continue to move forward.
Questions from the commission?
And before, well, let me say this. I was pretty zealous when I bought the property, so I immediately started purchasing material for the property, which was siding, windows, flooring. I rode around that neighborhood prior to purchasing those windows, and I see that same style windows on 201 Division Street, and multiple houses over there have vinyl windows. In fact, the house right next door has vinyl windows. The house 2 houses over have vinyl windows. There's probably over 20 houses. If I was to give you an address, you should verify that they are indeed vinyl windows, and they're vinyl windows all the way around the house next door, which is, I believe, a woman's home or
Yes, and when those windows were put in, they were fined by the city for that action. When you came before us on the original C of A for this property, I made you aware that, yes, there were houses in the neighborhood who had violated the covenant and had been fined accordingly by the building department. So yes, we are aware, and it has also made it very difficult for those property owners to come before us again for additional C of As for other projects. It obviously makes for a equally uncomfortable conversation as we're having right now, because they have been in the same position. They went out, they bought before coming before us to find out what the rules were. And the resolution to that was that in some cases, they had already been fully installed. And we felt that as a commission, especially with the women's shelter, that certain safety precautions had to be followed and allowed. However, agreements were put in place for future changes. There are covenants now in place on several of those houses, and there were fines done by the building department for violation of code. So that is probably an option that we'll need to look at.
Okay.
You remember, right, when we talked before, you were to go by the recommendation of Deb Parcell, particularly with the windows that faced the street. And then we talked about the windows on the side of the building, and you agreed to doing that at that time, knowing that you had already had those windows. And I understand that the windows are a special order size and that the manufacturer won't be able to return those. But that still doesn't negate the fact that it's not up to the standards in the district, particularly on the front windows that face the street. Told that at the last meeting when you were here with the COA with that. Very lengthy discussion about that.
Sure, that is a fact, but I had in my mind that I would just return all of the windows.
We understand that. They shouldn't have been ordered to start with. And that's, that's not the commission's fault that they won't take those back, and it's not your fault really either. But, there's been too many exceptions made in that district, and like Ann said, particularly the windows that face the road, they need to be per code. And that's my opinion.
Okay.
My concern is it's not just the vinyl that we do not like. They also are not in keeping with the historical character of the home. You have changed that. They're supposed to be 2/2. That, again, is all part of the historic district. Our emphasis, again, is on the front and the side toward the alley that is most visible. So I guess what you choose to do with the others is up to you. I would think you would want a matching house, though. It would look awfully hatched together if you don't.
Yes.
The problem that you face is that if you do install those windows that you've already purchased, you would be subject to fine, which you might as well start over, because that might be just as financially devastating as, doing it. It should have been done correctly the first time. We're sorry you got the cart before the horse, but that doesn't change the character. We do not want to change the character of the historic district or to go against our ordinances because of your inadvertent mistake. And I'm sorry about that, but I am not inclined to change my mind on the windows.
Okay. Okay.
Here again, we're just talking about the windows that face the front and those side windows. We're not talking about all of the windows, so you'll be able to recoup some of that financial loss.
You want windows that don't match on the house.
Yeah.
Because he's changed the two, anyway. Because you've got 3/1, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's very different, and it's a very non-historical look to the house.
So
That's part of the problem.
201 division, that is the same style window. that they've installed there.
I think they're one of. Yeah, what are they?
They're 3/1. And that's what prompted me to make that decision. Like I said, I drove around the neighborhood
on this
prior
side.
to.
3/1.
It's two, on this side, it's 2/1.
Would you go to your colored picture, please? Three, 301 is the Mosaic House, correct?
I think it's 201.
I believe this
Is-
picture that you submitted, is
Yeah, I
that
think
simply a
201.
sample from the
201.
from the company? Oh, this is 201?
201. Correct.
201 Division is the four-square duplex that Lifeline has. Those are replaced windows, those are fiberglass, and they're 1/1, which is what was there before.
Okay, so then this photograph is not actually from the district? And
think so.
I am mixing, okay. I thought this was maybe the Mosaic House, which had extra, okay.
Across the street is that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, I got confused. I apologize. Because I know that the Mosaic House had special dispensation because of it being infill. It was not, and they had to be hurricane-proof. Clients.
Want to explain the difference between infill and existing for?
Yes. So the houses that La Casa recently built in the neighborhood, the house, the Mosaic House, which is down next to, what is the Glassburn's official house name? I'm drawing a blank. Sage House, thank you. We're sitting here staring at each other. The house that was, it's a group home, and it came in as a infill, which meant there was an empty lot. They designed it as best they could to match the rest of the neighborhood. However, the financing for that house required them to have a type of window that could withstand projectiles, not from the outside, but rather from the inside. And therefore, they invested in hurricane-level windows, which were only available in a certain design at the time. They had a very limited scope that they could choose from. So again, per our conversation on the last, when you were here before, we do have slightly different rules based on where the financing comes from and whether it's an existing home being renovated, as is in your case, or an empty lot being filled with specialty needs and financing. So that would be the difference. For the case of the house, the 201, we have fiberglass, which is acceptable within the code rather than the vinyl. Okay. Clarified that, I think. Well, I'll turn to the commission and ask for perhaps wording on a motion.
Yes, I would, regard to 25 COA, move to deny the application for any change in our prior ruling on the windows and our original recommendation and approval.
Okay, it has been moved.
We need something different.
Yes.
Kevin Davis, Deputy City Attorney, Attorney for the Commission. It needs to be a positive motion. So if you are going, the motion has to be a positive motion. So then, and then when you take the vote, you can have voting for or voting against. Am I making sense?
So a motion to deny is not positive?
Not. It's a motion to approve, It's a motion to approve, and people can vote for the approval or against the approval. So it has to be a
Understood.
positive motion.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes. All right.
You're giving me the face.
I know. I'm having a
So
hard.
it
So,
needs to be-
so the chair would accept a motion to approve 25 C of A .01 as presented.
Or the motion could die for lack of a second as well.
Because he wants to change the windows. I say no on that.
Then you would vote it down.
Okay.
There you go. All right, we'll get this straightened out yet. All right, is there, I have put forward the motion. Will someone make the motion, and will someone second it, please? Okay.
If we seconded it, isn't it 2 against 2? We seconded it, isn't it 2 against 2? Like if I
All
said,
you're doing is entertaining the motion. You can always, you can second the motion and vote either for it or against it.
well, I'll second the motion.
So it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of 25 COA.01, please signify by saying aye.
Mrs. Lindley? It needs to be a roll call vote.
Has to be a roll call vote. All right. I will begin the roll call at my right. Mrs. Whitmer?
No.
Mr. Zimmer?
No.
Mrs. Brunswick? That, oh, gosh, Carrie, I'm so
Brunson.
sorry.
Brunson,
Thank you.
nay.
With the roll call, it's 3 against. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And I'm going to vote no also, sorry. So it's 4-0, C of A, 25 C of A.01 is defeated, turned down. At this point, then, we would put further questions. Mr. Jones, further questions would go to the
Well, I'm
Office.
going to move towards whatever the fine is. I mean, I'm not going to, I have no place to put those windows. So
okay.
whatever the fine will be is what it will be.
All right. So at this point, then, we will refer you to the legal department and the building department to work with them, and that would be Kyle and Eric and Jason.
Okay.
And they will reach out to you at the beginning, probably maybe tomorrow or the beginning of next week, to make arrangements.
Very good.
All right.
All right,
Thank you
for
so
your time.
much.
Thank you all.
And we are sorry about
No
this, but we.
worries, no
but-
worries. It is what it is.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you so
Have a great
much.
evening.
All right, so we will move on to any announcements for the evening.
I have one. I would like to introduce, during the roll call, I made mention of Kyle, but I'd like to introduce Kyle Anthony Petter. He comes to us from Michigan City, and he has joined the staff as Planner 2. So in that capacity, he will be now your primary staff to the commission. So you will see my face once in a while, but primarily Kyle's, so I will let him introduce himself.
Welcome, Kyle, and please introduce yourself.
Welcome, board. My name is Kyle, kind of how Eric said. I originally went to school at Ball State for my master's, and since then, I've been working with Deb in Michigan City. We've been having a wonderful time, haven't we? And I'm very excited to now be with you guys and hopefully continue the good work that I did in Michigan City in terms of the Historic Preservation Commission there, and hopefully things with you guys as well.
Wonderful, welcome. And we have heard good things over the years, and we've been privileged, several of us have been privileged several times to go over to Michigan City for presentations. So we look forward to working with you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We have any other announcements for the good of the order?
I've announced.
Oh, okay, wait a second. Suddenly everybody's got announcements. Okay, wait a second. Here we go. Go ahead,
First
Deb.
of all,
Well, hello, Deb.
Hello. You are blessed to get him. We miss him already in Michigan City, and I'd like to take him back with me, but Anyway, he
not
will do
allowed.
good things here, so.
Hopefully, he's ready for us.
I think we had 150 even? 156 COAs last year in Michigan City.
My.
And
You are
we,
going to be bored.
he needs a breather. I think this is
Yes,
good for his
okay.
mental health. So that was a resume builder for him, so.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm going to pass around the HPC member list with names and addresses. I just want you to check it and be sure it's right, because I need to submit that with the contract for this year for us.
okay.
And then while that's going around, I don't know if I mentioned this last time or not, probably not. We're looking at doing a couple of HPC roundtable meetings like we have last year and several years in the past, where we get commission members together from across northern Indiana and do a little educational time. And we decided to do it a little bit differently this year and just want to make it a little more interesting and hopefully get a bigger crowd. So what we're looking at doing is having it in places that Indiana Landmarks has worked with, had some involvement with in the past, some kind of a building that you can tour. We're going to have some food, some beverages, just kind of fellowship, talking time with a little education. But it's a lot about connections and about seeing some buildings that have been preserved. So we've got one planned for May 29th, so kind of keep that on your calendar if you could. It'll be in the evening, probably 6 o'clock or something like that. It's going to be in New Carlisle at the building they call the Old Republic, which is a
Oh, I
gorgeous
haven't seen
brick
that in
building.
years.
Yes. So it looks fabulous. The current owners have rehabbed it beautifully. Kurt Garner's going to come. He helped design a carriage house that they built in the back. And they changed the plans a little bit from what he did, but he's still going to talk a little bit about appropriate infill and new construction with historic properties. So keep that in mind. That's coming. That's no charge to anybody, but I think it's really going to be fun. So.
Excellent.
So I think that's all I've got. I would like to do some training this year later on. I don't have anything ready just yet, but we haven't done any training for a long time. And we've talked about doing a workshop here in Elkhart, something on lead paint and hazardous materials and some stuff like that. So I'd like to see that planned.
That is definitely needed. I would hope that we could do something like that.
I think we're kind of full for spring already, so I'd like to really do it well and plan it well, so maybe something we can be thinking about for early fall. But, yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you, Deb. Carrie?
I was totally gonna say what Deb just said, but I know that the city just hired a lead hazard control grant manager, and she's actually one of my girlfriends. So I think that'll be a nice thing that her and I can work together. As far as me I still case manage lead poison children, so we'll work together on that. And I've already reached out to Eric about some lead safe work practices training, and I would be good for the fall too, Deb. So we'll keep working on that. But there is a training in South Bend next month. I can forward that information to you, Eric, if you want to forward it to the board. So I think it's March 11th, so it's coming up quick, but there is a free training coming up. So
Desperately needed.
Piggyback on what Carrie had mentioned, she had reached out to me earlier this year at the end of December, I can't remember which, about working on lead education and outreach. And I did somewhat volunteer the commission because of the circumstances we've experienced over the
Yes,
last several years
absolutely.
with lead exposure. And the same breath, I reached out to our community development department, and they are going to partner with the commission on getting the word out and sponsoring an event for training at a date to be
To
determined
be
later.
determined. Excellent. Okay. Are there any other announcements for the good of the order? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn at 7:30.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.